Hello aspirants, welcome to Avian IS. I am Dr. Mohammad Zia and this is our Indian economy session. First, I'll begin with about Indian economy and the role of that in GS. It is very important to understand that. First of all, a misconception that has to be cleared from this point of view is that this is not economics. In general parlance, people say we are having economics, but when it comes to UPSC, it is definitely not economics, it is Indian economy. Now, another matter of fact is that most of the aspirants, they have not studied economics as a subject, because obviously it comes in a very latest stage of time, and by the time we realize the importance, it has already become an optional subject in your plus 2 or in your graduation or otherwise. So first of all, we have to understand that this UPSC whole examination pattern of this UPSC, if we'll see the most critical part always, and I have always said that the preliminary exam is always more critical than the mains part. So if we see prelims of preliminary examination, you'll find that we have GS paper 1 and we have the CSAT. Here we have 100 questions, objective types, that. And if I take, honestly, if I take the average of the questions from Indian economy that has been asked in past 5 years is roughly 23 to, you can take up to, we have find this is gone up to 26. This is the average number of questions in preliminary examination that has been asked in UPSC. Now you have to understand the pattern of the examination here, or the nature of the question. See, sometimes what happens now that UPSC is changing its manner in which they are asking questions. How? Now the question, you cannot classify it that this belongs to economy, or this is from current affairs, or this is from geography, or otherwise. Maybe science and tech can also be integrated. if we go to a larger extent to that, we can say that belongs to economy. So roughly your 25%, 20 to 25% questions in your preliminary examination are coming from Indian economy. Now in this, another part to this is that it has two parts. If we see the syllabus of Indian economy, it has two parts. Number one is a static part, which basically is what we call as the technical part. Fine. What is demand, law of demand, the basic concepts of economics. And the second part is dynamic part. And when we are saying dynamic part, it means that this part, this technical part or the conceptual part has been integrated with current events, and then the question are asked in that manner. Now one approach, you can say that, sir, we can just concentrate on the dynamic part and we can leave the rest. You can do that, but you won't be able if you don't get this. These are facts which has no base. If you are just concentrating on the current event part, or what you call as the current affairs, okay, we'll go with the Indian economy news every month, we'll make notes, we'll do great stuff. But if the question, and if you'll see the nature of the question, in general now we have statements, questions in statement form, like there's one statement, statement 1, statement 2. So when we are saying statement 1, one part is always asked from this section. If you will see the nature, if you will see the theme of that, it is always being asked from this section. Another is how it is connected to the current event. Now this is how we are going to study. We are going to first, I'm going to tell you the static part, the conceptual part, that is the basic concepts. What is money, what is demand of money, GDP, the most commonly used, the method to compute GDP, like this. And then in the later part, once we are done with this, in the later part we will integrate that with the events that will be going on. Now for example, budget. If I tell you budget, definitely a budget has its own element. Every year it is changing, economic survey is changing, but there are certain common factors, common concepts which are related to budget. Now first we'll study that what is the structure of budget, what is the format of budget, how it is presented, what are the different stages in that, what are various motions in that, what are the powers of the parliament. Let's say this is the constitution part, but still, because now in this evolving world, in this changing world, especially of the UPSC examination, civil services examination, you cannot say that, sir, this is from polity, you can't do it integrated with economy. No. You have to do that. You have to integrate your subject, your knowledge to the widest possible extensions that you can give it. So this is how we are going to study. So my the structure of the syllabus that I am going to take for GS Economy is first we'll be studying this, the conceptual part, and once we are done with this, we'll be moving on to the dynamic part, that I'll tell you how the questions are asked. Depending on the nature of the questions that has been asked in the previous years, I'll be telling you how these questions are asked. That how any current event, any current affair get converted into question, integrating both the parts. One thing that you have to understand is even if you don't have studied economics ever in your life, it doesn't matter, because I'll be starting from the very fundamentals. And one thing you should always remember when you're preparing for UPSC examination, only those people get qualified whose concepts, fundamental concepts, whose fundamentals are clear. You can build up n number of things here. You can say, okay, we'll go with, sorry, you're telling one magazine, we'll go with 4 magazines, great enough, go with that. But unless and until you have not studied this part, you won't be able to understand. For example, let's talk about balance of payments. A balance of payment and there's a lot of things in budget and economic survey and everywhere, and whenever economic analysis comes in, balance of payment is always a debated topic. And in that there are various deficits, current account, in this with the trade deficit. Related to that, we are talking about the twin deficits. Now these are the things you can remember the figures, dynamic part. India's trade deficit is this much, our exports are higher, imports are lower, whatever. But unless and until you don't understand that why India is balance of or that why we have a trade deficit. What is trade deficit, first of all? So in preparation of UPSC, it may take a bit more time. Like if you will rely just on this part, it will take your, let's say, 100 hours, and if you will integrate this to this part, it will take you 120 hours. This is the only difference that will be created, but these 20 hours can take you way beyond in rankings and in selection. So another thing is and once you are done with this, after attending let's say my 10 to 15 hours of classes roughly, I can tell you that you will be able to understand economy in a much better way, because most of the times when it appears in newspaper that you encounter every day is you're not able exactly, sometimes especially those who do not have a background of economics at all, they're not able to understand the very basics, terms and terminologies, and you just read the news because it has to be read. So this will not happen once you are done with the classes. This will not happen once you are well versed with this. So this is how we are going to take Indian economy into consideration. I'll tell you the whole static part, I'll tell you the whole conceptual part of every concept which is related to economy, because this is the ratio, this is where you are going to hit it. If, let's say, even if in the worst case scenario it is 20%, what you have to get, 55% is a very damn safe score in prelims. If I'm talking about the general candidates and taking that as landmark, 55% is good enough. And in that, if you are able to hit 20-25% from one subject, I think you need to invest more and more time here. Now after prelims, when we come to mains, you'll find that roughly 75 marks are directly, it's like 6 to 7 questions will come in your GS paper. Now here what you have to do is, I'll tell you how to write answers, because knowing concepts and connecting it and how to derive an opinion over that, how to develop an understanding over that is an art, and that will go simultaneously. This is not just that when I'll start, I'll be telling only for the from the preliminary examination perspective. I'll be telling it. We'll be going both, taking both mains and prelim simultaneously. I'll be giving you questions to practice. I'll be giving you answer writing, and I'll personally be guiding you on how to write answers, especially when it comes to economics. Sometimes you may have a general perception about things. Now here, when you're talking about prelims, your knowledge and your memory is the key player in this. But when it comes to mains, now it is not just your knowledge. Your knowledge has to be combined with your understanding, and that is what UPSC want to know, that whether you have an opinion of your own or you're just आप सिर्फ रट रहे हैं और लिख रहे हैं, वो नहीं करना है. हमें अपनी समझ दिखानी है. We have to tell about our own understanding, that how well versed we are with the concepts and how we can relate those concepts that we have learned here with the whatever the question that will come in the future and in the mains examination that is asked. So this is about the pattern. This is about importance, because I'll say कि अगर एक number 1 mark, the importance of 1 mark asks to those aspirants who have missed by this mark. Don't think कि 4-5 number का पढ़ के क्या हो जाएगा, नहीं. Even a single number, even half a mark is important when there is negative marking, because that may create a huge difference. That 1 mark can bring you from this side to that side. So this is the pattern of examination. This is the importance of Indian economy. Why it is tough? Because direct questions don't come. Why it is difficult? Because most of the people are not well versed with economy. Why this is difficult? Because when we are studying this, we are just concentrating on this part. In general, the mistakes that I have seen in the aspirants, that they are just concentrating on this part. They are not, it will just hardly make a difference of 20 hours, not more than that, in your total preparation when you go with this and this. So we are going to take this with priority, and once you are well versed with this will be as easy as your any other subject you feel, or your favorite subject, whatever you feel, okay, this is easy enough, so this can be done. So this was about the mode and the pattern that I'm going to take. Today I'll start with the very basic parameters in economy. And before going to economy, what we are going to start, or what we are going to study, is economics. Now, economics, obviously, economy is the application part. It is the application of these concepts that we are going to study here today. So, but I'll take a very basic concept in the beginning. Why? Because I want that you should be first be comfortable and familiar with the term. And the most common term when it comes to economics, the most common term that you take is GDP. That is and this is the term which appears every other day in the newspaper. This term, GDP, or the gross domestic product, this appear every other day in the newspaper or in news debates, logical news debates that you are watching. Now, the question is, what is this? Let us see that how you will say that. See, in ancient times, if you will identify, you must have studied in history about various empires. You may have studied about the Mauryan Empire, the Gupta Empire, later on Delhi Sultanate, then Mughal Empire, and the British Empire. When we use the word empire in ancient times, it is always a larger term to denote huge area, great conquest, things like that. And in those times, you know, the example like Mauryan, Gupta, Mughal, Delhi Sultanate, British Empire, this strength of any empire was identified by the extent of its empire. Means how huge, किसी का empire कितना बड़ा है ये तय करता था कि वो कितना पावरफुल है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल मौर्यन, जब आप मगध को भी देखते हो तो मगध वॉज लाइक ह्यूज. गुप्ता एम्पायर ह्यूज. तो उस दौर में किसी भी एम्पायर की, किसी भी राष्ट्र की, किसी भी देश की या किसी भी किंगडम की स्ट्रेंथ किस चीज़ से मानी जाती थी कि उसका एक्सटेंट कितना बड़ा है, उसका साम्राज्य कितना बड़ा है. ये एंशिएंट टाइम्स की बात हुई. फिर हम देखते हैं एक स्पेशली आफ्टर इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन एक चेंज आता है. एंड मॉडर्न टाइम्स में किसी की भी ताकत, किसी की भी स्ट्रेंथ उसके एम्पायर के एक्सटेंट से नहीं, ये देखा जाता है कि वो इकोनॉमी कितनी बड़ी है. लाइक व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द लार्जेस्ट इकोनॉमीज ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, they may not be the largest countries. Largest country in the world, let's say so Russia by area, good. But when you say economy, definitely it's USA. और हम उन दोनों की जब हम कंपैरिजन करते हैं तो हम मानते हैं कि नहीं, USA is more powerful than Russia. Not by the area, but because it has a strong economy. China, a strong economy. Germany, a strong economy. Japan, स्ट्रॉन्ग इकोनॉमी. तो जब ये दुनिया में चेंज आया, ये मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड में जब चेंज आया, तो ये चीज़ कि किसी का एक्सटेंट कितना बड़ा है वो शिफ्ट होती है. और ये देखा जाता है कि वो कितनी बड़ी इकोनॉमी है, ये तय करता है कि कोई भी देश, कोई भी मुल्क, कोई भी कंट्री इज हाउ पावरफुल इट इज. दिस हैज चेंज्ड नाउ. अब ये तो हम एरिया देख लेते थे, वी यूज्ड टू सी हियर दैट इसका एरिया कितना है, ठीक है, उस हिसाब से देखते थे कोई कितना बड़ा. अब यहाँ ये देखना है अब इकोनॉमी को कैसे मेजर करें. द मोस्ट कॉमन थिंग विल से कि ठीक है, हम एक चीज़ कैलकुलेट कर लेते हैं कि कोई भी कंट्री लेट्स से 1 ईयर में प्रोडक्शन कितना कर रही है. दिस इज हाउ यू विल से. किसी भी चीज़ को आप देखोगे, को आप खेत में भी चले जाओगे तो वी विल गो टू वेरी बेसिक यूनिट ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर. हम कहते हैं कोई खेत अच्छा है या बुरा है, हम कैसे तय करते हैं? इससे नहीं कि उसका एरिया कितना बड़ा है, इससे कि उसकी प्रोडक्टिविटी कितनी अच्छी है, उसका प्रोडक्शन कितना है. और हम यही देखते हैं मॉडर्न डेज में कि किसी भी इकोनॉमी के अंदर प्रोडक्शन किस चीज़ का. गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज का. किस चीज़ का? गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज का. अब हर कंट्री का हम ये देखते हैं और हम उस बेसिस पे उसकी एक वैल्यू निकालते हैं विच इज़, क्योंकि इंटरनेशनल. अब सी द इम्पोर्टेंस और द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ अमेरिकन इकोनॉमी दैट हम किस में कैलकुलेट करते हैं? इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड US डॉलर्स में. हम किस में कैलकुलेट करते हैं? US डॉलर्स में. So this is the strength of American economy. So how I will sum up this? What is GDP? Gross Domestic Product. It is the sum total of all goods and services produced within the domestic territory. Now this is an important term here. Produced within the domestic territory of a country in, let's say, one accounting year, or in general we take 1 year. कि एक साल के अंदर जो उसकी डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी है. हियर द क्रिटिकल टर्म इज व्हाट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड हियर इज डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी. किसी भी कंट्री की डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी के अंदर जो भी गुड्स और सर्विस प्रोड्यूस हुआ है, उसकी मॉनेटरी वैल्यू या उसकी कहना चाहिए कि उसकी जो मनी वैल्यू है, हम उसको टोटल करेंगे और हम कहते हैं ये इसका GDP है, ये इसकी इकोनॉमी का साइज है. इन जनरल जो आप एक फिगर देखते हो कि GDP इज अप बाय X%, जैसे 5%. अभी रिसेंटली हमने देखा -7%, प्रोजेक्टेड है 11%. नाउ व्हाट इज दिस? दिस मीन्स लेट्स से इस साल, आई विल जस्ट टेक वन एग्जांपल. इस साल लेट्स से 2020 में हमने 1000 kg वीट प्रोड्यूस किया। लेट्स टेक एन हाइपोथेटिकल एग्जांपल। हमारा टोटल प्रोडक्शन कितना है? 1000 kg ऑफ वीट एट, अब वीट का प्राइस लेट्स से ₹20 per kg, ₹20 per kg. So how much this will be? This will be 20,000. So the size of GDP in rupees, let's say, अभी हम रुपीज़ में ही बात करते हैं, अभी हम बिल्कुल बेसिक है। तो हमारी GDP का साइज कितना हुआ? 20,000। 2021 में 2021 में हमने क्या किया? हमने प्रोड्यूस किया 1500 kg वीट, और इस बार लेट्स से सेम, हमारा इस साल भी प्राइस नहीं बदलता है, 20 kg। नाउ अब हमारी जीडीपी का साइज कितना हो गया? ₹30,000। ₹30,000। So we'll say our GDP is up by 50%. Fine. Means तो जो परसेंट आता है, it is with respect to production ऑफ लास्ट ईयर। तो आप जो न्यूज़पेपर्स में, न्यूज़ में जो फिगर्स देखते हैं, जीडीपी 5.5% से बढ़ रही है, जीडीपी का इतना हो गया, तो दैट इज फॉर विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू द प्रोडक्शन दैट इज बीइंग डन लास्ट ईयर। विल कम टू दिस लेटर अगेन। फर्स्ट आई टोल्ड यू दैट दिस इज एन इंपॉर्टेंट टर्म, दैट इज डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी। नाउ यू मे से, इफ आई आस्क व्हाट इज डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी, ये वजह से कि सर हम ये इंडिया का मैप ड्रॉ कर लेते हैं एंड दिस इज अ डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी। ठीक है, मान ली, क्या इसके अंदर हुआ यही सिर्फ हमारी डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी है? नहीं, ऑब्वियसली हमारा सी कोस्ट भी है। सो डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी इंक्लूड्स योर पॉलिटिकल बाउंड्री प्लस फ्रॉम दिस पॉइंट मीन्स फ्रॉम योर सी शोर to that, from there to 12 nautical miles is your area, and that we call and even up to 200 nautical miles we can do economic activity, and that is known as EEZ, that is exclusive economic zone. जिन भी कंट्रीज के पास सी शोर है, जिन भी कंट्रीज के पास समंदर का तट है, व्हाट वी डू, एक तो उस समुंदर के तट से 12 नॉटिकल माइल तक क्या होगा, उनकी डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी है, वो उनका एरिया है। उसके बाद इंटरनेशनल वाटर्स शुरू होते हैं और उसमें इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी, पॉलिटिकल या और कुछ टेरिटोरियल एक्सपेंशन नहीं करना है, उसके अंदर डिफेंस एक्टिविटी नहीं करनी है, आपको क्या करना है, सिर्फ इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी, ऑयल एक्सप्लोरेशन हो गया या फिशिंग हो गया, और भी दूसरे जो मरीन इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज़ हैं वो आप कर सकते हैं, तो वो भी आपकी डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी में आपके उसमें काउंट किया जाएगा। प्लस हमने देखा है दैट वी हैव आवर एम्बेसीज, वी हैव आवर हाई कमीशंस थ्रू आउट द वर्ल्ड, तो वहाँ पे जो हो रहा है वो भी, जैसे अगर वो अमेरिका के अंदर एम्बेसी है और वहाँ पे कोई आता है और वहाँ पे काउंसलर फीस ली जाती है, दैट काउंसलर फीस विल नॉट बी काउंटेड इन अमेरिका, इसलिए क्योंकि वो एम्बेसी अमेरिका में, इसलिए वहाँ काउंट, वो किसकी टेरिटरी है, वो हमारी टेरिटरी है। एन इंडियन प्लेन, लेट्स से एक इंडियन प्लेन है जो न्यूयॉर्क से दिल्ली आ रहा है, उसकी टिकट्स की जो खर्चा होगा या और दैट प्लेन बिलोंग्स टू इंडिया, वो किस में काउंट होगा, वो हमारी जीडीपी में काउंट होगा। एनीथिंग, एनी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी डन हियर इन द थिंग्स वी हैव लिस्टेड, दैट इज टर्म्ड एज डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी। सो आई होप डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी इज क्लियर। सो व्हाट इज जीडीपी? अगेन a sum total or the monetary value of the all goods and services produced within the domestic territory of a country in a given accounting year. Fine. So this is what the value of GDP is. I hope GDP is clear to you. For the rest, I'll take in the next class, where I'll tell you the various other parameters like GNP, what are the different measures to this, whether it factor cost, market price, the basic, and then we'll move on to the new computation method of GDP in the next session. Till then, have a great time. Thank you so much.